All right, hello everyone. Happy Saturday. Um, as you might have noticed by that initial pause and a little bit of awkwardness here, we have transitioned over to using YouTube. You probably know that already by the fact that you're watching this on YouTube instead of on Mixer. But that's part of the reason for the delay in the stream today. So we will be, pushing the new, channel, if you will, all throughout next week, and that'll be the place to come in the indefinite future. So excited to see how this all works out. So I've got a cluster started. One of the things that we're going to be focusing on today is similar to last week, just rewriting some of this staging logic to switch over to use streaming. One second, okay. So our cluster's running. The other thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about was last week we went ahead and did some of these fixes to go ahead and remove everything. It seems like for the indefinite future, this mount path is going to work. I did do some verification that it would work with Databricks as well. So that's all good to go. Let's see. Yeah, so it should all be good to go with Power BI and reporting more broadly connected to Data Lake. So let's run our initialization scripts. Go ahead and get all of our variables loaded. And honestly, I don't know why this isn't in parameters. I don't know why I didn't notice that before. Oh well. Okay, so so happy with that. Let's make sure we get it committed. Oh, that's not great. Let's link that. Yeah, so if anyone sees issues while they're trying to download and run these scripts, let me know, and I can always go in and tweak it. I don't know that anyone's tried a full deployment of these notebooks from GitHub, so I'd be curious to see how that goes. Okay, let's run the one we just updated again. Okay, great. So now we're just looking for tables that aren't using read and write streams. So okay. Let's see. So this is for sure using streaming, but it's also not using the function that we wrote. So let's maybe modify that or take a look into it. It's one of those fun development things. So yeah, okay. So this is using write stream. So really all of these should be converted by now. So let's do this. So this creates table if it doesn't exist. Yeah, I think this is all fine. Yeah, this is all good to go. Okay, so let's run this. From top to bottom, and then if this all runs through, then we're effectively converted into the new streaming model for our silver zone. Well, that's interesting. That should be defined. So we've got all these defined. That's interesting. And we imported the new parameters. Oh, it's just a raw path that we didn't define. But that was okay. It's raw delta path. So let's call it. Let's call it what it is now, and that should fix it. Perfect. Okay. Renaming is always the most fun. You know, they're moving Databricks towards more IDE type features, but I would appreciate some stuff like the ability to refactor or do like, you know, inline documentation with, you know, similar to how Visual Studio does it with IntelliSense. But we'll have to keep an eye out on that. Okay, let's take a look at this. So we've got to do a display since this is streaming now. Okay. So we've got, come on. So we've got under comments is where we want to be looking for this. Okay, so let's see. That's interesting. Yeah, I can't think of why that would work with the more explicit command, but not the column API. Oh well. Okay, so we'll explode this. Just without the call. I guess we'll do this one too. Okay, we got an extra paren. Data frame has no direct items. I don't know if I totally agree with that. Well, let's see. Here, I'm just going to do a display. The plain text doesn't always work for me. That wasn't even the cat this time. I can take full credit for that. Okay, so... Oh, okay. The alias got moved. Okay, gotcha. We don't need this. Okay. That's weird. I could have sworn we had written this for df facts, but oh well. We'll do df comments facts fact. We'll let this run. I guess let's verify what's in the data lake for that folder structure. Those analysis exceptions can be fun. Yeah, okay, that hasn't been registered yet. So let's look. So it's using okay. So it doesn't like either the name or the path. So the untapped base query path. Okay, we've got our slash. And the name seemed fine too. Okay, there we go. Okay, so you're trying to create an external table default dot fact comments. You must think that this is empty. so it's not empty. God, I feel like this is something silly. Fact comments. Yes, it is interesting that this isn't working. Maybe we'll steal that code and pull it over for a second. So it's doing df. df comments facts clean. Fact comments. Excuse me. Okay, same error. So let's do okay, so that should now have data over here. One would think. Okay, what the hell? Okay. So it didn't process anything. It's coming from here. Mount default. Query. Yeah, that's just wild. So it has data. We can see from the raw data, though, that it's not taking in any input rows. So what I'm going to do is actually clear out the checkpoints. And we'll see if that helps. And actually, really, we should just be doing this in bricks. So let me clone this. we don't need any of these. Okay, let's see if it likes that better. And so what we're looking for is to see whether this actually ends up writing any data or not. So here, cool, okay. And then if we go back over here, fax comments, bam, okay. That makes me feel better. Okay, so now we should be able to do this create register delta and take out this troubleshooting step. This needs to be changed to that call from earlier. By the way, I just sort of cavalierly deleted the checkpoints. That is pretty dangerous in a production environment. So what you're going to want to do is essentially have some sort of guarantee to make sure that you're not writing in stale or already used data when you're doing that. So in our case, the data is pretty static. There's not that much new untapped data coming in, and I'll have to change these too. And so we can sort of rest easy, but it's not something that you want to get in that habit of necessarily. But you'll definitely run into it a couple times as you're creating one of these lake houses. It's hard to be perfect on the first run. Okay, let's see if that works. Okay. So I'll have to do some research as to why this is suddenly so grumpy about the call command, but at the end of the day it works, so what can you do? Okay, I guess this hasn't run yet, so I'll just copy and paste it. Oh, this is still... That's still busted. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing here. I know that this is thrilling stuff, but I think it's ultimately worth it. The whole point of these streams is that this is how the sausage gets made, and if you're not doing a bunch of refactoring and this type of stuff for an initial project, then it's likely not data engineering, or maybe you're just a lot smarter than I am, or more conscientious of work for yourself. But I really wanted to show intentionally that phase where we go from your initial deployment using batch processing, how to upgrade to streaming, and sort of landing on best practices ultimately. And so I want to write a regex to do these since there's more than like 2 of them, but oh well, not today. Okay. Okay. Here, I'm going to do something. This is helpful before. I wish it wasn't, but let's run this, and then we're going to run this all from scratch since we're so close to the bottom. But honestly, if that user table is the only one throwing a string error, then we're probably in a good spot. We'll see. Okay, so while that's running, so in Power BI, we've already staged up this Databricks connection. So that's what we're going to be looking at next. I know it's been a long time coming, but we'll look at everything in the query zone and start deciding, what data is there that's relevant and what we want to use, moving forward. So that should be good. And then, once you have that prototype, or once you have those prototypes in place kind of like of your views and your KPIs, then that's when you, we would sort of formalize them in Databricks. And then instead of Power BI doing the process, we have Bricks doing the processing. Now, again, with the size of data we have, in reality, we would probably do this all in Power BI instead, but this is sort of an exercise in looking at, what best practices are. If in the future, if this is not clear or whatever, and again, this is up to the community. If you want to have me look into this, is sort of comparing these best practices on a larger data set, or maybe a true streaming data set from something like Kafka. But ultimately this is how we should be structuring things, and so I'm kind of trying to show that and show what the transition process would be within that. Okay, let's check in on this. I think there's a couple things to delete. Actually, I guess that all looks pretty good to me. Okay. So let's see. So this might very well be the only one where we're actually using the flatten function. So that could be part of the issue. Let's see. I think it likes it in general. It's just on here. Okay, so let's look into df user. It would help if I typed display correctly. Let's see. That's my bad. Okay, so within, let's cancel this. So within there, so we've got a struct. That all looks pretty good to me. Because it was the arrays that were throwing us off initially. Okay. You know, it is what it is. I'm going to go ahead and just write out a flattened version of this so that we can just move on. So let's do df user.select, and then it's going to be df user dot bio, and then we'll do df user dot yeah, I guess we'll do dot contact. Sure, why not? Of like all the things that I could see skipping, this is probably at the top of the list, but since we're in here, we might as well fully document all of it. Foursquare. And then df user dot first name. Okay, we got location. This is tiring, but at least it works. It's sort of a set it and forget it kind of thing, because eventually the goal is to not be even looking at our query zone definitions or logic ever again. It's just to, have it in the system and have it do nightly updates. Or not nightly, you know what I mean. I think in this case we decided on weekly. Okay. Would help to have an in there. Oh, okay. Let's see. If it's user.object. Okay, that tells us what the issue is, so we'll go over into a text editor. I'm a Sublime man myself. So we want to actually copy over the broken version so that we can fix it everywhere. Oh, okay. That would do it. Our find and replace was too aggressive. No struct field user object . Oh, okay. Let's fix this. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Oh, come on. I think one of my packages I depend on all the time isn't working, my clipboard manager. Oh well, we'll make it happen. Okay, so we want to replace dfuser, not with dfuser.object, but I think it's just dfuser dot. We'll try that instead. Okay. Okay, so that seems to be working. So we're gonna just steal the code to write it out as a delta table because that's missing. User flat, and then we'll call it user. Okay, so I have a funny feeling that this is another checkpoint issue, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that. I don't think anything's still running. I don't know why that's taking so long. Come on. Okay, let's try this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we should be seeing non-zero output here. Okay. So let's look over here. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, user exists. So now when we try and do this, should be less grumpy, and it looks like it's going to be. That's interesting. Seems to be going a little slow. I guess we'll let it finish. Maybe I need to turn this into a true stream and like play Grand Theft Auto or something while these things are compiling. That's just ridiculous. Come on. Yeah, that's just not performant. Okay. We'll give it all a run through and see how it goes. Oh, it can't instantiate the high meta store. That's why it's so grumpy. Okay, I'm going to forcibly restart. Okay, let's run this now. This poor cluster just does not want to work today. Come on. Excuse me. Okay, now it's finally running. Okay. Let's see what it has to say. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna have to come back to this later. It seems like an issue on the Databricks side. Um, okay. But before we hop off, I do want to show this. So I've already shown in a previous episode how to create these tokens and connect your cluster. Okay. So this might be an issue with Hive too. Well, phenomenal. Okay. We'll talk about this issue if it's still lingering next time. Basically what the Hive meta storage relationship is to Databricks, but this seems just like a bug on the runtime side. So there's not much more we can do about it. Thanks for tuning in, or if you're watching this later, thanks for watching. We'll keep moving forward on this data lake. Next week, we've got the bronze and silver zone done at this point in streaming data frames and using best practices. So really all that's left for future sessions is to start creating those bronze layer visualizations, and that's where gold layer visualizations, and that's where the fun really starts. And then we can start sort of tuning the data lake and looking at it more holistically. So again, thanks for watching or tuning in. I'll catch you guys next week.